the college basketball experience preview and pick show for Thursday, November 10th on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, presented by WynnBET. WynnBET's now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET is what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100. Get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college basketball experience for Thursday, November 10th. My name is Colby Swigga Database Dad, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Oh, look, I know I'm not in the studio again. Home is where the heart is, but the real heart is us giving out winners every single night of the college basketball season thus far. I am joined by my co-host, former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. Give it up for host of the NFL Gambling Podcast and the Ryan and Rush Show. Check out all of those things. Give it up for my guy, Ryan McIntyre. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good, Colby. How about Bellarmine and those Jackrabbits?
Bellarmine. I mean, they can make fun of me for saying that shit all I want. I'm cashing bets over here. Yes, I mean, man, that was too easy, right? I mean, what a game. First off, look, I didn't get as many eyes on the other nights I've been able to watch like a lot of the basketball games. I caught the second half of Louisville Bellarmine, and then I caught a little bit of some other games. The Davidson Wright State game I was recording, but I had it on. It seemed to be insane, but I got to be honest, as hosting the show, you don't get to focus as much. So I'm going to have to watch that one again tomorrow morning, I think. But yes, I mean, Bellarmine, what was that win total, or what was that payout there? It was like, if you got it in last night, it was something crazy. I feel like it was like, plus 800 or something, right?
Yeah, 7-1. So yeah, definitely a big dog that we hit last night on the Bellarmines.
Well, and I'm going to go ahead and say, obviously, South Dakota State game winner. That was a fantastic ending. They win at Boise. We were on the money line there. I mean, we gave away those two plays last night, and you hit your lock of South Dakota, the Coyotes, -5. And I got to be honest, I went to go knock out some college football work. When I did, Lipscomb was actually kind of giving it to them. So they stormed back in the second half. You were right. I'm glad you got me to. I ended up taking South Dakota. I feel like I was kind of on the fence. But I didn't bet it. I know you locked it up and bet it. But how do you feel about that one?
Yeah, no, it definitely was a sweat. It was like another lock that we had in Davidson, where kind of never in doubt, I guess. But yeah, no, we had to sweat those out.
Yeah, I mean the Davidson one, insane, double overtime. I was very, 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 very fortunate to come out on top there because. I should say, but hey, we got that dub. They woke up. They were down like 20 at one point. It was absolutely insane. We play college basketball DFS, so we invite you to come play DFS with us. We'll tweet out a invite from on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. And Foster Lawyer is a guy that got me almost 68 points on the DFS front. And I mean, you read a stat line, 38 points, 9 assists, 5 threes made. He had 11 boards. Foster Lawyer, this is the same kid from Michigan State that we saw a few years ago with Tom Izzo. I would have never thought he got 11 boards in a game before. But he turned it on, and apparently down the stretch, like I said, I kind of like the second overtime was on in the studio, but I was hosting. You don't get the same amount of time to focus on exactly what's happening when that happens. I also want to touch on this one, and I know you got it at flat 6, but I did have Florida Gulf Coast plus 6.5. Now it didn't hit on the money line, and that round robin didn't hit, but I did have plus 6.5. As Steve Lavin does get the dub, the half point saves me with FGC. So that comes true. I think you did all right on another lock. I mean, we both ate shit on UT Martin. What is going on with UT Martin? Preseason favorites to win the Ohio Valley, and just, whoa, they lose by 18. Either Pitt and Youngstown State are really good, which I tend to not believe, or Youngstown State, or UT Martin's awful. So what was your take of that game?
Yeah, no, the Skyhawks, it kind of they got off to a good start, but then at the last 10 minutes, the last 8 minutes of the first half kind of just fell apart. Youngstown State blew it open a little bit. And then, UT Martin couldn't make enough shots to get back in it. So, I don't know, man. We might need to start fading the Skyhawks going forward. Yeah, I almost said the Skyrockets, but the Skyhawks.
Yeah, Skyrockets maybe when they start winning some fucking games.
Yeah.
My worst bet of the night was not actually UT Martin. I took 17 points in the Hampton Pirates.
Oh, my God.
I mean, I did. This is one of the games I got a lot of eyes on. JMU almost won by 50 points. And maybe look, and I knew JMU is contending, preseason publications have them contending for a Sun Belt championship. But Hampton, they weren't a great team a season ago, but they bring back their backcourt. They brought in a key transfer from St. Louis. I thought they'd be a lot better this year. That was a royal ass whooping. My apologies on that. But and I loved every angle of it. I loved the little brother angle of it. I love the fact that they kind of have a veteran team, but man, JMU laid it on them. And that was easily my worst bet of the season so far. Plus 17. You could have gave me plus what? They almost didn't cover times 3.
No, they got drilled. I mean, it was an ass kicking right from the beginning. I took Hampton as well. I didn't lock it like you, but I was with you. The little brother angle. JMU was coming off that absolute shellacking of the D3 school that they won by 100. Felt like. So maybe JMU is a little better than we're giving them credit for.
I think so, man. And then we had American and Marist. That game went down to the final minutes. We did not hit on AU as Marist gets the dub. That was anyone's game. I feel like I know NC Nick locked that one up, but I will say this: when talking Davidson Wright State and talking about today in general, what we learned, I think we learned that JMU might be a pretty damn good team. I think we learned that Davidson will still be decent in the A10, and I think we learned Wright State's going to be a player within their own conference. And South Dakota in the Summit League, I think might be all right. They were a winning team a year ago, but we'll see. They battle back. I got to watch that game, but Monmouth 52, Seton Hall 79. Wow. I mean, I took this hit for me, but just because my last second homework of seeing the lack of experience at Monmouth, but maybe we fade Monmouth, when conference play starts, because I don't know that team's going to be very good. And I think Seton Hall might actually be better than what we think. What was your take on that game?
No, I thought Seton Hall looked good under first game for Shaheen Holloway. He's got a deep team, and they're still a little banged up right now, so they're going to only get healthier and healthier going forward. Yeah.
UMKC actually kind of gave LSU a little bit of a ball game. Mm-hmm. We were on the wrong side of that. Did you take the Kangaroos?
No, I locked up LSU. I thought they would come out firing under Matt McMahon game one, but they were in a dogfight. I mean, UMKC, despite looking awful in the opener, was in it the whole way.
Yeah, and we didn't cover with IUPUI. I mean, we didn't bet these games, folks.
Oh,
the ones
God.
we bet, we had a pretty good fucking record on, with the exception of I ate shit on UT Martin and Hampton. We still had a winning day, especially on some money line plays. But yeah, IUPUI gets rolled by Drake. It'll be interesting to see Drake and how they do in the MVC this year. Let's just talk about Kenny Payne's first game at Louisville, because I only caught the second half. They kind of battled back at points in the second half and made this a game. I thought they might even have a shot to win it. They got a couple decent looks, I thought. But this is a terrible start for them, considering the D2 loss in the preseason. And now, Bellarmine gets the dub, and Bellarmine is they're still not eligible to go to the tournament, right?
I think no. They have one more year before they're eligible. I believe so.
Fucking
it's stupid as shit.
They need to fix that. They need to just stupidest policy I've ever heard. Florida Gulf Coast. How about Steve Lavin though? San Diego might be better than. I mean, I am very lucky to get that cover. I know you got the push on that, but San Diego, that's impressive considering what Florida Gulf Coast did to USC just a couple days ago. We also ate. I think you went with me on this. Florida A&M. We both took Florida A&M there, or did you take Portland?
I took Portland at the last second, but I mean I didn't lock it. But hey, back to Florida Gulf Coast. I mean, two coaches that are on their second jobs or third jobs with Lavin. Both those squads look good. I think San Diego and Florida Gulf Coast. Gulf Coast. I mean, it's a good road trip, all things considered, going to USC, getting a win, and then being competitive with San Diego.
Yeah, 100%, man. I knew they brought in some good talent. I was thinking it might take them a couple weeks because of how many transfers came in, but no. I mean, it seems like after game one, they really look good. So, all right. Well, look, that's all of the day's activity. Obviously, I think that probably the best game. I don't know. I guess South Dakota State, Boise lived up to the hype as far as I thought coming into the day. That was the best game, but clearly Wright State and Davidson might have or Bellarmine and Louisville. So still a good college basketball day. It's funny. I see people, I saw some complaints on like, oh, there's no marquee matchups. We just gave you 3 games that were fantastic. That's the best part about college basketball is like, you have ESPN Plus and the Mountain West app or whatever the fuck it is. Some of these apps, you have it all there for you. Now, I get it. You have to do a little searching, but it's all there for you. Today's games, even though I didn't get as much time to focus on them, obviously we had 3 really good games. So I'm very happy 3 days into the college basketball season with some of these games we've seen. How about yourself?
Yeah, me too. Tonight was a little painful in terms of the game of the night with Davidson and Wright State because the audio was off slightly the whole entire time. It was synced up about 10 seconds ahead of time, so I had to watch the game on mute because it was giving away what was happening before it was happening. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, so I had to put that on mute, and then I just put what was it? I think it was LSU and Seton Hall on the main screen so that I could listen to that. So, but yeah, no, I mean, we're starting to learn a little bit more and more about these teams. And then before we know it, we'll have a bigger sample size.
That's what I'm saying. Shout out. And, that's one of Q and Bobby Knight.
Good round, you're celebrating with your appetite. Bad round, you're using your appetite to forget about the round. I'll tell you something about appetite. It's a real fucking great thing to have.
It is a great thing to have. And that is why, we have a pretty, I'd still say this is kind of a, all right, slate, ahead of us today, but we load up for Friday because Friday is going to be absolute fire. So let's get after it, people. Tomorrow, there's a bunch of, D2 and D3 games or whatever. I know Queens gets back out on the court 9 a.m. I'll probably be watching that one here. But, a lot of them, there won't be lines out there for those teams, or for those games. Let's just start 3 p.m. on the West, 6 p.m. on the East. Lehigh heads to Blacksburg. Lehigh covered against Syracuse, I think barely, by 1.5 points. Now they hit the road to go to Blacksburg. They're catching 23.5. What are you doing here, my friend?
I'm going to take Lehigh to cover. I think they looked okay the other day against Syracuse and Virginia Tech. I know they won their opener by a bunch, but they played Delaware State. So I'm going to take the points. I think that's too many points to give these Lehigh guys.
I agree. I think Lehigh's better than Delaware State, and you saw them cover. And if anything, that I feel like early on in that Syracuse game, they kind of stayed with them a little bit there, and maybe they'll have the same opportunity with Virginia Tech. I know who was it that was it Mutz? No, who was it? So I watched a little bit of that Delaware State game. Someone was on fire from 3 for Virginia Tech. But I think with 23.5 points, you got to go with the Fighting Hawks of Lehigh. We also have Charleston Southern 30 minutes later tipping off on the Big Ten Network against Ohio State. This line is at 25. Man, look, Charleston, you look at what they've done so far. Obviously, Ohio State beat Robert Morris in the season opener. Charleston Southern took down Toccoa Falls. All right, shout out to them. But they took them down by 31, and that's enough for me to buy into 25 points. I mean, look, Ohio State did win by what? I think it was 38 points against Robert Morris.
Mm-hmm.
Concerning, and that's why I will definitely not lock this game up, but I will go with the Buccaneers of Charleston Southern. What are you doing here?
Yeah, no, I'm taking the points as well. I went back and looked at Charleston Southern last year in these bye games. Ole Miss and Wake Forest, they lost by like 25 and 24. Georgia Tech, Clemson. So, yeah, no, I'm gonna take the points. I think it's too many.
Yeah, I agree. Then we go. This is actually, I think, one of the more appealing games of the day for me. North Carolina Central heads to Boone, North Carolina. So a little in-state game for Lavelle Moton. I know they opened up 0-1, lost to Virginia, covered for us though, only lost by a 12 in Charlottesville. They head to App State. App State did put it on, almost won by 70 against Warren Wilson. That's a school that I've never heard. That's a human. They played one human being. I kind of like this angle here. Look, I know App State's been better of late in the Sun Belt. 2 years ago, I believe they made it to the NCAA tournament. And last year they had a winning record. They fell in the Sun Belt tournament, but I kind of like Central getting 4.5. I am going to lock up Central in Boone getting 4.5. What are you doing here, man?
I'm going to lean North Carolina Central. Like you said, year 15 for Lavelle Moton. He keeps a good program. I do like Dustin Kearns, though, at Appalachian State. He's got that thing going in the right direction as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, last time they played, App won by 9. So, the slate I wasn't in love with today, but I think Central's the better team. But I expect it to come down final couple of possessions. It's in Boone, so maybe a slight edge to App because of that. Did you find yourself struggling for some solid locks today? I feel like it was like, you're kind of just like, all right, next up.
Yeah, no, I kind of we'll get to them, but I kind of like the favorites in this slate. It's kind of a boring slate compared to tonight, and then obviously tomorrow night. It's a sandwich night.
Yeah. This actually, the Central App game, and then I am intrigued by this matchup. Colgate heads to Brown. Brown didn't cover for us in the opener at Vermont. Colgate was up on Buffalo, but Buffalo stormed back, barely got a win there. Now Colgate lays 5.5. I'll be honest, I'm talking myself into locking up Colgate, but it's on the road. I think this is one I should consider. What are you doing here?
I struggle with this one as well. Kind of like Central and Central and App State. I think both these teams are underrated. I mean, Brown went to Vermont the other night, and I know they didn't cover, but they were decently competitive. And then Colgate's always good. They lost a heartbreaker at Buffalo. I'm going to lean to Colgate minus 5.5.
Look, on a night where we're kind of searching for locks, At the end of this episode, I might change my mind, but right now it's not a lock. I think I might bet this though by the time the game tips because I'm just searching for some. This one's appealing in its own right here. Loyola Maryland, who actually played DePaul pretty good in the opener in Chicago. They head to State College to take on Penn State. They're catching 16.5, and judging by how they played in the opener, the Greyhounds, I think they can cover this. But I'm not going to lock it still because I think Penn State might play a lot better in game 2. But what do you think of this spread, and what are you doing here?
Yeah, no, I'm going to lean to taking the points as well. I was actually surprised at how good Penn State did look the other night because I thought Winthrop was going to have a shot to beat them. So I'm going to lean Loyola Maryland, but this isn't a lock for me either.
Yeah. Then this is one. Okay, so the ones that I was thinking about, there was no way I was going to lock up Lehigh or Charleston Southern. It was Central and Colgate. Really, like, I haven't bet Colgate yet. I already bet Central. Loyola, I was like, maybe, I don't know. But what about this one? This one, talk me off not locking this one. UMass Lowell, 1-0, right? As they won by I think it was 60. Against I think Fisher College it was, and then you have Columbia who only put up 35 on Rutgers. Columbia seems to be kind of one of the shittier teams in the Ivy. UMass Lowell laying 7.5. I'm going to lay the 7.5. I feel like they're going to beat their ass, but I guess I don't know. I guess the line's accurate. What are you doing here?
You know what? I'm going to lock up UMass Lowell minus
Let's
the
do it.
7.5.
Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. I was sitting there hesitating on that. Do I go with the Riverhawks or do I not? Let's go with the Riverhawks. Let's lay the 7.5 with them.
Yeah, Columbia looked awful the other night.
Yeah, and I know it's on the road, but that place ain't going to be lit. Lay the 7.5. Let's go. Presbyterian heads to the Citadel.
This is going to be a great game.
I'm locking up the Citadel. Give me the Citadel minus 2.5. I already bet this thing. I'm going with the SoCon here. And I did get my eyes on that Clemson Citadel game. Now, here's my fear, is I don't really know how good Presbyterian is. But I got some eyes on the Clemson Citadel game. And I thought the Citadel played all right considering they lost by 11. I thought they played pretty good. It made me think that, okay, they're going to be, kind of a tough team night in, night out in the SoCon. I don't expect them to be at the top, but I think the SoCon kind of speaks for itself. So I'm going to lay the 2.5 against Presbyterian. What are you doing here?
I'm going to stay away from this from a lock standpoint. I'm going to lean to Presbyterian. These two teams, when they played last year, went to double overtime. So I think it's going to be another exciting game. So I'm going to take the points when in doubt here.
Oof. I'm getting nervous. About these locks of mine. Certain nights you feel it. Like I felt like I actually felt like the opening 3 nights I had a good feel. I feel like tonight I'm reaching a little bit. So Quinnipiac, fresh off of the win at Rhode Island, now they head to Stonehill. Yes, that is a real college. Stonehill is catching 9.5. Look, I took Quinnipiac to win, but I was thinking and they looked good against Rhode Island. But part of me is like, they partied. I saw that video of that locker room with them dancing. Yeah. So I'm like, give me Stonehill plus 9.5. That's as far as my analysis really goes because Stonehill, it's not like they looked great. I just think can we see Quinnipiac do that consistently? And I think that's the concern for betting on Quinnipiac, even though they looked really good. What are you doing here?
No, like you mentioned, that was their Super Bowl beating Rhode Island, and this is going to be Stonehill's first Division I home game. I'm going to take Stonehill as well.
Yeah, let's ride with the points there.
Might want to sprinkle some on the money line too.
I mean, wouldn't that be wild? The Skyhawks. Maybe that's the right Skyhawks. Maybe we've been betting on the wrong Skyhawks.
Yes.
This is one of the better games on the slate, and I know you're probably excited to watch it because Towson has come into the season with a lot of hype.
Yes.
I've had, I grew up in the DC area, and I had some friends message me about how they think Towson could be pretty good this year. I know both of us did, actually. So Towson heads to Amherst to take on Frank Martin, your boy, and the UMass Minutemen. I'm on UMass. I'm going with the better coach here. And look, we were right on Albany covering against Towson. Albany gave him more of a game than Vegas thought. I think UMass takes care of business. What are you doing here?
Yeah, no, I think the wrong team's favor. I'm going to lock up the Minutemen to get it done.
Boom. We lock
Let's
it
go.
up. Old Faithful. Old Faithful, right?
Frank Martin, baby.
I mean, I just expect their defense to give Towson a ton of problems. And as much as, I was really impressed by Towson a season ago and some of the players they have, some of the talent they have on that team. But Frank Martin, man, he obviously took South Carolina to the Final Four. He can get the maximum out of his roster, even if it's early on. So I'm with you. Give me the point and give me the Minutemen. Western Carolina, they covered for me against Georgia. They are heading to College Park, Maryland, to take on the Terrapins. They are catching 21 and a half, I think I see out there as well. I'm taking the Catamounts. Look, they hit for me the other night. I get it. Like, Willard and Maryland looked pretty good against Niagara. They won by 22? I kind of think Western Carolina is better than Niagara. I'm gonna take the Catamounts. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I struggled here. I'm gonna lean to the Terps. I think the Terps are actually pretty good under Kevin Willard in year number 1.
Yeah, I mean, that line is big though, man. I mean, I get it. I could totally see it too, especially it's another game under the belt, understanding changes and I just feel like getting your second game, you can focus on a lot of the things you did wrong and correct them. This is, in my opinion, I'm going to go ahead and say, out of the slate, this is probably my favorite game.
No doubt.
Coming into it. Western Kentucky heads to Eastern Kentucky. We have a rivalry game, and I am super excited to watch it. Western Kentucky has yet to play a game, but Eastern Kentucky did destroy Miami, Ohio, Middletown. This is an interesting matchup. The last time they played a year ago was on December 4th. Western Kentucky won by 5. Now, I'm very intrigued because obviously Western Kentucky stole away Akot from Boise State. He was at Boise. He was going to Memphis. They steal him. It seemed like they also bring back a couple guys. They were kind of injured a season ago. So the question is, and I guess, Akot's he's questionable for this game because of an illness. That is the only thing that could potentially scare me off of this. I am going to lay the points with Western Kentucky at 7.5. But I'll tell you this, I laid points a lot with Western Kentucky last year. When they're favorites, I feel like they're a hard team. They normally just kind of play at that level of, oh, okay, we're favored by 20, or we're favored by 12. Let me just play to that level. Whereas when they're dogs, I feel like they're a much better team to bet on. I'm going to lay the 7.5 though. And I'm going to lock it up. But, folks, monitor that situation because if Akot's not playing, it's a big X factor. I would delay. I haven't bet it yet because of that. I am going to bet this game, most likely, if he is playing. What are you doing here, my friend?
I think we have our first lock-off of the year. I'm going to lock up EKU. They play a hectic style with 40 minutes of pressing with A.W. Hamilton. And you mentioned it, kind of a rivalry game with the two Kentuckys. And for some reason, they always play close games. And you're right, Western Kentucky, they play down to their competition no matter how talented they are under Rick Stansbury.
We have a lock fight. I mean, look, I think it's going to be a lock fight. If Akot's playing, which I think he will because this is a rivalry game, I got to go with the more talented team. But I would not go past 8. It's 7.5 that I'm seeing right now, folks. If you are going past 8, I do not advise you to. Because I think you're right. And knowing that who knows how healthy he is, and maybe I'm a maniac for locking this one. I just feel like their roster is really good this year.
No, they're loaded.
Yeah, and I feel like they should, put them on it or lay it on Eastern Kentucky. But you're right; it's a rivalry game. You never know. So Ryan is locking up EKU. I'm locking up WKU. This should be fun tomorrow night. This one is a very good game as well. If you watch that Colorado State opener in Fort Collins, the Gardner Webb running Bulldogs were up, I think, 11 or 12 at halftime. Colorado State kept chipping away. They ended up getting the momentum. The crowd was crazy in Fort Collins, and they hit like pretty much a game winner. So Gardner Webb got the loss. I rode Gardner Webb in that game. Now they head tough scheduling. They start off in Fort Collins. Now they're going down to Texas, take on Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks. I went back and forth on this. I have not. I'm not going to bet this. I don't think. But as far as watching this game, I'm really excited to watch it. I ended up going with Gardner Webb. I thought that the advantage that they have, that they played that game and they looked good. Can they fix, there a couple? I know Stephen F. Austin played the game, but it was against like a D2 school or D3 school. I think Gardner Webb has a little bit of the advantage as far as they've already played a tough road environment. So I'm going to take the 5.5. Do I like it? No, but I'm going to take the 5.5. What are you doing here?
Stephen F. Austin played another name that's entertaining, Laterne. I don't know where they're finding some of these schools. No, you mentioned it. Gardner Webb looked good the other night at Colorado State, and you mentioned their schedule. After this, they got North Carolina and Wofford on the road. So shout out to Gardner Webb for scheduling. But I'm going to take the Lumberjacks. They're always really good at home.
Yeah. You're making me think about this one. You are making me think about this one. I think I'm just going to back Gardner Webb. I think it's
a good game.
Yeah, I think it's one of the better games we have on the slate. Speaking of that, before we get to our next game, I want to tell you folks out there that the college basketball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET's now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. And from boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET is what you need to win. Sign up today, bet $100, get $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by the SGPN merch store. Get your holiday shopping done early at the SGPN merch store. SGPN gear is the perfect stocking stuffer for the DGen in your life. And let me tell you, we have these campus edition t-shirts, absolutely fantastic for the college basketball experience and college football experience. Go check those out. But besides that, we have a ton of other cool clothing. So check that out. All right. Right now they're doing until Thanksgiving. You can get 10% off when you use the promo code Dallas Sucks. Yes, that's store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Promo code Dallas Sucks. All right. Central Michigan, the Chips. If you're a Central Michigan football fan today in Maction, what a nice comeback happened there with the Chips. Fire up Chips, as they say.
Chip.
All right, this one was a little tricky for me. You have Marquette, Shaka Smart's second home game. They obviously had a little bit of a scare with Radford. They cut that thing down to 3 pretty late in that game. They ended up getting it back up to double digits, but Radford certainly covered that one. Now the Chips of Central Michigan come into Milwaukee there to take on Marquette. Oh, man, I am going to lay the points here. And my logic was this. Central Michigan has only won 7 games the past 2. I mean, like each year. So 14 games over the past 2 years. I didn't see any development. If anything, that they were worse last year than 2 years ago. I don't think they're very good. Now, at the same time, I do not think Marquette's the type of team to really blow you out. But I think the gap is pretty big in this one. I'm going to lay the points with Marquette. What are you doing here?
I'm going to take the points, not lock it up. Central Michigan, it's going to be their opener. And Marquette, they didn't look very good the other night. I think we touched on that in their preview. And they have Purdue on deck. So maybe a potential look ahead a little bit.
That makes a little bit of sense there. That makes a little bit of sense there with the look ahead spot, as Purdue looked pretty good the other night. All right. Then we have Cleveland State, the Vikings of Cleveland State. Life after Dennis Gates. Daniel Robinson is the brand new head coach there, right? I believe. Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Daniel Robinson just lost to, was it Notre Dame College of Ohio?
Yep, Notre Dame College of Ohio. The head coach is a former Hugs guy, so shout out to Mark Richmond getting the dub the other night in Cleveland.
There you go. That's concerning. And now you're heading, Wes Miller, year 2 in Cincinnati. Loved what he did in the portal, bringing in some guys. The line is gigantic. It's 20, a flat 20. Why am I laying this? Because they just lost to Notre Dame College of Ohio. I have zero faith in them being able to correct their mistakes that fast. And I do think there's a little buzz around Cincinnati about this program. I don't feel good about this game. Betting it, no, I wouldn't do it. But give me Cincinnati minus 20.
I'm going to take the Vikings. It's not the first time that they've lost a Division II game. They actually lost to Notre Dame. I think it was in 2019 as well. So, and they were pretty
it's a bad matchup for them. What? Get them off the schedule.
They think that they're playing the Fighting Irish or something, but it's not the Fighting Irish. It's a different Notre Dame out of Ohio. But I'm going to take the Vikings in a Ohio matchup here. I think Cincinnati's good, but 20's too many points.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. Illinois State. I faded Illinois State in the first game. I think you rode with them, and they lost to Western Illinois outright as I think they were a 9-point favorite, if memory serves me correct, maybe even 9.5. Well, now they can get it back on the right foot, but they got to travel down to Eastern Illinois, who just got murked by the Illinois Fighting Illini. Regional matchup. I'm taking the points. I don't think Eastern Illinois is very good. I do think Illinois State's the better team, but they're on the road. 9.5 points. Give me Eastern Illinois. Don't love this play.
Yeah, I don't love it either. And Illinois State lost to Western Illinois in your opener, so that's embarrassing because Western Illinois is never good. Neither is Eastern Illinois, so I guess I'll lay the points, but don't feel great about it.
Omaha Steaks is at Nebraska here. This do we think this Fred Hoiberg coached Cornhusker team could actually be decent this year? They won only by 13 against a Maine team that's been awful lately, which is very concerning about me taking Nebraska minus 17, but yet I took it. Omaha is coming off of an ass whooping to Kansas, but still, that's Kansas. No, dude, the Nebraska-Maine game was not the way I thought it would pan out. I thought Maine is bad. I mean, unless they've really gotten better in the offseason, the Maine that I've saw last season and the season before is really bad. So there's a little bit of red flags going on in this game, but it's a little brother also. I'm laying the 17, but I think I could be completely wrong on this one. What are you doing?
Yeah, I feel like we just want Nebraska to be good in football and basketball, but they just won't be. I'm going to take Omaha. They went to Kansas, so it can't be more difficult than playing at Kansas. So I don't feel good about this one either, though.
I think you just sold me. I just feel like that Maine game is a bad fucking look. I think Omaha's got to be better than Maine. I know Omaha hasn't been great either. You know what? I'm switching it too. Give me Omaha on the points. 17.
Shout out.
Let's go. What's up?
Yeah. I said shout out to the chat. Johnny Football, Ryan Hassel. Who else we got? We got Noah Beanick in there as well. Yes, Maine is awful.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So I think we have to take, and then you factor in the point that Omaha might have a couple guys that didn't get recruited by Nebraska. Little fuck you mode. Even though I thought that would be the case with Hampton JMU, and look how that worked out for me to earlier tonight. But I'll double down on that and give me the points. Give me the points in Omaha. North Alabama. This is probably the grossest game of the day. Is at Alabama A&M. Now, North Alabama was awful a season ago, but damn, 57-point win against Oakwood. Yeah, I thought that was a golf course. Nice win there. And meanwhile, Alabama A&M hasn't played a game. These teams did meet a year ago. Hey, should we lock this one up?
I'm starting to lean that way.
A year ago, North Alabama won 56-45. Should we lock up North Alabama?
The Lions. I'm locking up the Lions. Give me Tony Pujols' squad. They're going to Alabama A&M and getting a win. Wrong team favored.
I agree. And look, they've been at the golf course of Oakwood. They bounced back. I like what we're doing here. We're talking ourselves into locks on a questionable slate. Give me the Lions of North Alabama. Lock it up to double lock. This game's hilarious.
Johnny Football, the chat said lock up the under 133.5. Yeah, last year was 56-45, so I like that play too. Give me the under.
Why is this suddenly moving itself to the main screen at the SGPN Studios tomorrow afternoon when I say, guys, we got to put the North Alabama game on?
It's the Dundee money line lock.
What is that money line right now? I'm trying to pull that up. I think it was a plus 130 or something, plus 120. North Dakota State. You know, we saw this matchup a couple years ago. And North Dakota State, the Bison, they put a scare. December 5th, 2020. Kansas won 65-61 in the fog. I mean, and I think this thing was like 63-61, and North Dakota State had a chance to tie it. What a game that was. Now, NDSU, they're 0-1, but they did, I believe, actually, I think that, yeah, they covered. They only lost by 18. They covered. That was a 21-point spread against Arkansas. Now it's a 23.5-point spread. I do think this NDSU team's a lot worse than that team a couple of years ago, though. Kansas?
Yeah. So North Dakota State did go to the Fog 2 years ago and was competitive, but the only problem with that was the COVID year. So the Fog wasn't the Fog. They played with no fans. So I'm going to take Kansas. I didn't think Kansas looked very good the other night. I know no Bill Self, but I'm gonna lean Kansas minus the 23.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we go Kansas.
I would have locked it up, but they got Duke on deck.
Yeah. I'll go Kansas. I'm with you. Radford heads to Notre Dame. Look, we locked up Radford the other night. This is one we should consider.
Yes,
I'm higher on this Notre Dame team though, coming into the season than I am on Marquette. But Radford covered against Marquette, gave him a game, but Radford's catching 18.5. The Highlanders. Give me the Highlanders. I feel like this is a fringe lock.
Yeah, and I struggle with this one too in terms of if I want to lock it or not with Radford, because I feel like Notre Dame does struggle in the non-conference usually, but they do bring back a lot from that good team last year. So I'm going to, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to lock up Radford. Give me the Highlanders.
Dude, and you know what? I just looked up the last time they played. You know who won?
Radford.
Yes.
Mike
Lock
Jones.
this fucking thing up. Let's go. Give me the Highlanders plus 18.5. They won 63-60 back in 2018. I know that's stupid logic to say, oh, well, look, they're going to beat them again. No, but I think Radford played at a decent level the other night. 18.5 points on a night that we're struggling to find bets. I think I feel better right now than I did 20 minutes ago when I was looking at the slate going, I feel better. I honestly feel better about the Radford North Alabama plays. And
Radford has a bunch of has a couple high major transfers, and they've already played a high major, so the nerves aren't going to be there. And it's Notre Dame's opener. So yeah, I like Radford to cover this thing.
Let's go.
The Highlanders.
Yeah. This is an interesting matchup here. The Salukis of Southern Illinois, they head to Stillwater. Still waters run deep with the Salukis when they come here. Interesting matchup because the spread is 8. This is, Southern Illinois was decent in the MVC a year ago. Ugh. I'm going to lay the 8. Don't feel good about it. What are you doing?
I'm locking up Southern Illinois, and I sprinkle some on the money line. I think the Salukis are good.
Wow, that was I mean, they put it on Little Rock, man.
Yeah.
31-point win. Salukis have that sweet ass logo. It looks like fucking Lassie. I just feel like Oklahoma State's got to rejoice after that season. They weren't eligible. I feel like they want to make a statement. I'm going to lay the 8. I don't like it though. But I mean, if anything, you locking it up is making me like it less and less. Texas Southern, who covered against San Francisco, I believe, if memory serves me correct. They head to Lubbock. Man, Lubbock was rocking the other night. What a great video.
It's always rocking.
What a great, that's why college basketball is the best. The Red Raiders are laying 20.5. Remember Fardaz Akwi, the big man, the transfer from Utah Valley, still going to be out in this game. Texas Tech's laying 20.5. I think I've taken the points here. Give me the 20.5 and Texas Southern. What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm taking the points as well. Texas Tech, I think, is struggling to score right now without Fardaz, and they got a bunch of transfers again. So I'll take the 20.5. I don't feel great about it, though. But, yeah, no, even for Texas Southern, Lubbock will be lit.
Yeah. I mean, that I got to get down there and go to a game. That looks so great. Next up on the slate is Houston Baptist heading to Texas. Man, I don't know if you caught so I had the Houston Baptist game on for a little bit at the airport. And what's crazy is they covered for me barely, I believe by like a point or a half a point. They went off. One of their guys went off from 3. But they blew a gigantic halftime lead. They were up by 9 at half. They got outscored by 20 points in the second half. Now they head to Austin. They're catching 32.5 points. I guess I'll take the points, but this team was not very impressive as far as like watching them. I don't know that they're a good basketball team, and I know Chris Beard's defense is legit, and they'll probably lock them down. But damn it, 32 points, 32.5. That's a gigantic number. What are you doing here?
I'm locking the Longhorns, even with the big number. I don't think Houston Baptist is going to score like 40. So, yeah, they looked bad the other night, Texas, for Texas standards. Beard ripped them all last couple of days. I think they're going to come out firing, even against Houston Baptist. Give me the Horns.
Oh, that's a big number. That's a ballsy play. I love it. There we go. Ryan McIntyre saying hook 'em horns. Now, you might be able to talk me into this next one. North Dakota is heading into Creighton. You might be able to talk me into locking up Creighton because I can tell you this. After the Tommies were playing them, St. Thomas was playing Creighton tough.
No doubt.
And I think they might want to make a statement against a questionable Fighting Hawks, team, a.k.a. North Dakota. The spread is 28 points. This one I could be talked into. This one I could be talked into as a lock because North Dakota's not good. Creighton is very good. St. Thomas, I actually think, is good. I don't think North Dakota's good. Should we consider locking up the Blue Jays?
Yep. If you want to come with me, I'm locking up the Blue Jays in a bounce back. They looked awful the other night, but they're a top 10 fringe-ish team, so I think they look good on Friday night.
Let's fucking do it. Let's do it. North Dakota's terrible. Let's roll.
Terrible. Yep.
Northern Arizona is at Arizona State. Little regional matchup. Man, I hesitated on this one too. You got the Bobby Hurley situation, the way he looked the other night. That was not encouraging, I would say, if you're a Sun Devil fan. Man, Flagstaff to Tempe. NAU sucks, though. I've seen them so many years, but they're supposed to be a more veteran team. They look better than I thought they would look against Michigan State. Give me the 15.5 at Arizona State. I don't like it. What are you doing here?
I'm going to take the points, too. I don't love it. I'm with you. I'm down on Arizona State. I think they suck.
Bethune-Cookman's at Indiana. Bethune-Cookman's catching 31.5, which is, I think they covered by 1 against Iowa. If that was a 30-point spread. I think they covered against Iowa. Vegas was right on it. They're heading to Bloomington. Man, I guess I'll take the points. I don't know. This is like the sympathy play. You think like they're up enough that they bring in the backups. When is that? It's like betting Ohio State football. When will be what's the threshold of when they take out CJ Stroud? You know what I mean? So it's like, give me Bethune. You're crazy if you bet this one.
Yeah, no, I'm not locking this one. I like to lock these big favorites when they're coming off a bad game because I know they're due for a bounce back. But Indiana looked really, really good the other night against Moorhead. So, I'm gonna stay away. I'll lean Indiana though.
All right, this one I thought long and hard about betting this one, and maybe you can talk me into betting this one. Cal Poly's at San Francisco. The Dons, the Cal Poly, historically. Over the past couple of years, not a great team, but they did beat Bethesda University, which is not Bethesda, Maryland, believe it or not, by 35 points. So that's encouraging. They head up to San Francisco to take on the Dons. San Francisco's laying 13.5. Part of me thinks San Francisco's going to win by like 25, but it is we don't have a big sample size. They won by 13 against Texas Southern. Texas Southern covered in that game, but I think Texas Southern's a decent squad. They won at Florida a year ago. I think Texas Southern would probably beat Cal Poly by 10 points. Yeesh. I'm going to lay the points with San Francisco. Keep an eye on the SGPN picks page because I think I could lock this thing up. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I can't lock up San Fran because I don't know with the transition over to new coach Chris Gerlifson. I can't pronounce his name, but shout out to the chat. Bethesda University, home of the Elder Scrolls, Johnny Football. So I'll lean San Fran, but no lock for me.
Georgia Southern's continues their road trip. We locked up San Jose State. That came true for us the other night, made some good money on that. And now Southern heads to Santa Cruz, where they'll be, I'm sorry, did I say Santa Cruz? Santa Clara, where they'll be taking on Herb Sendek's squad. Santa Clara looked all right. They covered against Eastern Washington in a game I was on the wrong side of, but I think Southern gets back on track a little bit here. I think that line's a little bit too high. I'm going to take Southern plus the 11.5. I think Santa Clara wins by, I don't know. Actually, it's not a crazy dog. In a slate where you're looking for money line dogs, I could see this being a game with a couple minutes left. But I do think Santa Clara is the better team. I think they're the better coach team as well. So Santa Clara probably gets the dub, but I could see this being a 5-point game, couple minutes left. What are you doing here?
Yeah, and I feel like Santa Clara always plays close games with Herb Sendek. So, yeah, I kind of lean Georgia Southern. I'm not going to lock this one either, though.
Yeah, keep an eye on the picks page. I might bet a couple more games later tonight when I'm doing some deep dive in here. Nichols is at Wyoming. This is an interesting one because I believe I watched this game like a year ago. No, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Maybe I was thinking of Texas Southern because I just searched the last matchup. I don't know who I'm thinking of. But anyway, Wyoming is laying 16.5. Obviously, a lot of people have Wyoming winning the Mountain West this year. 16.5 is a lot of points. Nichols is a talented team, but they did get worked by Arizona. I don't know if that's I don't know if that means they're a bad team or not. Give me Nichols in the points. What are you doing?
Same. I'm not going to lock it just because maybe Nichols isn't good, but I think they're talented enough, and I'm not getting drilled by Arizona. A lot of teams are going to get drilled by Arizona this year, so I'll lean with you on the points. We
got 3 games left on the slate. UC Riverside, who I locked up against Colorado, and I ate shit on that one. They head to Loyola Marymount, not far from where I'm recording this right now, and to take on the Lions there. Riverside's getting 4.5. I do think the wrong team might be favored here. I think this might be a money line play for Riverside. What are you doing here?
I'm locking up Riverside. Take it on the money line. I'm with you. Wrong team favored.
Let's go. Riverside, don't fuck me again here. Let's go. Let's go.
Going back to the well.
Yes. And look at us. All right, I'm starting to feel better about this slate. Vermont is at St. Mary's. It's a far trip. But Vermont, just like Oral Roberts, Vermont is catching a similar number. I believe Oral Roberts was catching 9.5, was it? Or 9? Either way, Vermont's catching 8.5. You might want to wait. I think this line could jump up to 9.5. I think Vermont's going to give them a game. I think both these teams are well coached. Last lock of the night. I'm locking up Vermont. What are they? The Catamounts? Catamounts. Plus the points. I know Randy Bennett keeps a good coach team, though. Now, we got fortunate to get that Oral Roberts one because that was right on the number. What are you doing here?
I'm with you. I think this is a half-court game. Two really good coach teams. You're talking me into it. I'm going to lock up the Catamounts as well.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right. That's the best game of the night, actually. That's the game I want to watch most. USC is hosting Alabama State, a potential bounce-back spot for Andy Kennedy's squad. Wait, Andy Enfield.
Andy Enfield.
Yeah. USC is laying 27.5 against Alabama State, but, Alabama State not necessarily a great squad. They just lost by 41 to UAB. Now they go all the way to Los Angeles. The spread is 27.5. Give me USC. What are you doing here?
I'm going to lock up another big number. I think USC bounces back against Alabama State.
Man. Oh, I can see it. Hey, he's Moneyline Max locking it up.
Yep.
You're these big ass spreads. You're like Patty C. Hey, but if they hit, they hit. So that's our slate. Fans out there asking what, sometimes they'll DM me, what are the best games? To me, the top 5 games to watch, in my opinion, I would put Vermont and St. Mary's at perhaps the 1 spot to watch. How about 2? I would go. I'm intrigued by the Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky directional rivalry matchup there. Weber State, Stephen F. Austin probably getting that mix, and then Towson and UMass. And for the 5th one, I would go. Give me Central and App. What do you think the top 5 games to watch are?
Yeah, no, I like that Towson UMass game. That's one I'm really looking forward to. I think Southern Illinois, Oklahoma State's going to be a hell of a game. The Salukis, they're always tough against these high majors. Vermont, St. Mary's, that's the game of the night. I'm with you on that. And then Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, our lock-off is going to be a heck of a game as well. And then for my 5th game, I'll probably go to that Riverside Loyola Marymount game. I think those are 2 evenly matched teams.
Love it. Okay, so let's rattle off the locks here. For me, I'm taking Vermont plus 8.5 points. I'm taking UC Riverside plus 4.5. Sprinkle some on the money line. I am taking what else are my locks here? I am locking up North Alabama plus 2.5. I am locking up Radford plus 18.5. I'm locking up Western Kentucky, but that one I want you to monitor the injury situation. Do not, because I already bet it, so I'm definitely, I guess I'm up the river. But for folks out there listening, you might want to do an injury check before you bet that game. And then I locked up the Citadel minus 2.5. I locked up North Carolina Central plus 4.5, and did I have any other? UMass Lowell minus 7.5 as the final lock. Well, how about yourself, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I'm locking up UMass Lowell minus a 7.5 with you. I'm taking the Minutemen plus 1, wrong team favored. EKU in the rivalry game plus 7.5. Northern Alabama plus 2.5, wrong team favored. Sprinkle some on the money line. Radford plus 18.5. The Salukis of Southern Illinois plus 8. Sprinkle some on the money line as well. Texas in the big number minus 32.5. Creighton minus 27. UC Riverside plus 4.5. Wrong team favored, so take the money line as well. Vermont plus 8.5, and USC to bounce back minus 27.5.
You sold me on Creighton too. I'm betting that Creighton game. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Jays,
lock
baby.
up Creighton too, and I love that play. All right, folks. Well, that's our slate for tonight. Tomorrow night's slate is unbelievable. So stay tuned. We will be. I guarantee you, super excited to bring you the slate for tomorrow night. So, folks, if you can subscribe to the College Basketball Experience, I'll be back in the studio tomorrow night. And if you can subscribe to the College Football Experience and the College Baseball Experience with Noah Beanick. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Check out all of Ryan's work. The Ryan and Rush Show, fantastic work there. I highly recommend it. Also, the NFL Gambling Podcast. He hosts that as well. Check out those shows. Give us a follow on Twitter. He's on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Basketball Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Give us all a follow. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Check out, we have a slew of podcasts. We've got the World Cup coming, the Soccer Gambling Podcast. I highly recommend if you're into the Canadian Football League, the Road to the Grey Cup, we got the Canadian CFL Gambling Podcast, Golf Gambling Podcast. They do great work. Shout out to Boston Capper. Really, we just have a gigantic platform where I highly recommend a lot of our shows. NHL Gambling Podcast. So check out all that and get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Get access to all of our stuff, our articles. We have a lot of great college basketball articles that we don't get to talk about on the pod, essentially, but they're out there. Go check those out. And come talk college hoops with us in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. And till tomorrow, folks, this is the College Basketball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Yeah, it's got me thinking about the good shit the minute that I seen your grill again. It made me good trip, good dog the mind back like dog but wind that. Man, I didn't get mad when you near me hit the can back, but the comings on was strong. Now my shit's coming along, you know the song. The truth is I'm pretty much on fire again. It's heating up for real, I'm alive again. And that's the attraction factor. Vancouver, Michigan with my rap disaster. Yeah, you know you want it how you want it. No need to trip cause I got it, doggone it. It's all yours and the extras too. All the super music and the sex for hope. Just get it straight cause he caught me in a good mood. Let me demonstrate what this time of year could do. Sing it.